The rain came down on the Wednesday morning, started on the Wednesday morning, got worse and worse as the day went on, and that held up work obviously on the roof overall. And because at the back door, you step down to the back door, and there's three small steps, and then there's like a concrete slab. On a particular sort of 10-15 minute spell where it really lashed it down, and because there's no guttering currently on the roof, it just fell straight into that space and started washing its way into the kitchen. This meant that I needed to utilise my shovel to start shoveling water. Yes, you can shovel water. Here's an example of it. Because the area is so flat, you've only got sort of an inch or so, or 25 millimetres of water, so you can't really get it any other way. So shovel's quite a handy tool to use. Going back to my apprentice days, when the mason used to get me to fill up buckets of water from puddles, if we were working on a site where there was no access to water, he'd say, go and find a puddle. And working in the northwest of England, you'd often find a puddle here, there, or whatever. And he'd say, go and fill me up a couple of buckets of water. So this isn't the first time I've used a shovel to shovel water. Maybe not. The rain was persistent for most of the day, and I suppose you can't expect to have several weeks without any rain at all. It would have been nice if it rained on a Sunday and a Monday when I'm not there, but obviously God doesn't work that way. So it's come down today, and apparently after that the forecast is fairly good for the next few days, so I'll be able to get back onto the roof and continue. Did do a little bit of work on there in between, but because I've got my Japanese conveyor belt system going on, I have to open up a part of the membrane to pass the tiles through, and I didn't want to be doing that when it's raining, because the old wardrobe door that I use is falling slightly backwards towards the loft area. So if it rains heavily, you'd actually have water washing, quite a lot of water washing in, and that then is directly over the kitchen ceiling. So I just closed off. I used a bit of plastic just to close off the gap while I was doing the other bits and pieces. And then I'll be able to get back onto it hopefully tomorrow and get a bit more roofing done. So like I said, I did get a little bit done. Did manage to get up almost to the left-hand side, almost to the chimney stack, but just failed just at the last knockings. You have to excuse my voice at the moment. I've got a slight cold, so if you can't hear me, if you can't understand me normally, you're possibly going to struggle even more today. Sorry about that. So utilise a brush and a shovel, try and get whatever water I could out of the kitchen floor. I mean, it's not critical. There's nothing really in there. It's just tiled flooring, but obviously it's better out than in. And once the guttering's on, obviously that should alleviate that problem of having water coming and gushing in through the. In fact, I'm gonna actually dig the area directly outside, left and right of the rear kitchen door, and drop the levels a bit, because I don't like the fact that soil is sitting against the wall a good sort of 60 centimetres up from the kitchen floor, and obviously that's just going to work. It's going to penetrate its way through to the interior. So I'm going to dig all that back and have a bit of like a French drain running all the way around, just to allow a bit of airflow as well along the bottom end of the house. So things to do in the future. So we'll get to look at once I've finished swishing out the water, we'll get to have a bit of a look at the roof and where we were at. We've got I'm coming across a lot of badly weathered tiles or degraded tiles, and I'm not able to use, and that count's going up and up and up. So I think I'm going to get to a stage soon where I'm going to have to look around on one of the sites like Le Bon Coin and get myself to someone that's got some in stock or has got some in their garden that wants to sell them. to make up the shortfall. I don't know how many I'm going to be short, but I'm thinking I'm going to be a wee bit short. And particularly, I'm going to be short of what are called tile and a halves, which there's three just to the left of the picture there. They're basically the size of a tile and a half, which is why they're called tile and halves. And you use them at the beginnings of your roof every other course, because as you're starting the roof, you don't want a little sliver to create the stagger between the tiles. So because there's 80 patterns, ideally I need 40, minimum of 40 of these to do the roof. So every other pattern would be a tile and a half, but I haven't got them, so I'm going to have to search them as well. And then we take a look at the ridge tiles, and a lot of those are in very poor condition. Obviously, they've taken 100 odd years of wear and tear, and there's quite a few with holes in it, quite a few with cracks in it. And there's probably only probably got a good 10, and they're 30 centimeters long, which is sort of a foot long. So they're currently only going to be doing about 3 meters of the roof, or 10 foot of the roof, and I need enough to do 8 meters of the roof. So I'm going to be quite a few of those short. I have found a guy on Le Bon Coin who's got a load of these. He's got 20 actually for sale, and he's not too far away. He's about 20 kilometres from here, so I'll probably pick those up next week. Don't need them straight away, but I'll pick those up, and then before that, we'll have a bit of a clean up of these ones, and I'll show you, if you've got tiles that have got cement on them, the best way of getting rid of that cement, rather than trying to tap away with a hammer or whatever. Which is, these things are very solid, but they're also very fragile. So they'll take a massive amount of punishment from rain and everything else, and frost and what have you, but it won't take much punishment from a hammer. So best to steer clear of that. And I'll show you a technique what I use to get the surplus mortar off. So as you can see, there's another one that's in quite poor condition. It's just been worn away by the weathering over the decades. So I mean, fair play to it. It's certainly done its job in its time, and it makes you think of the guys who are actually, making these or forming these back in the day, and then firing them to get them up to do the roofs. It's fascinating, really. Little tiny piece of history there. Nobody ever thinks of the guys that actually make these things, quite apart from the guys that actually lay them to put them on the roof at the end of it. But so there you go. There's my selection of tiles, nicely mossed up, like a lot of the other tiles were. And very kindly, one of the French guys that follows me told me that they actually, in France, they're called tuiles fêtières. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We call them ridge tiles. And you can see here there's one that somebody's obviously hacked at to create. Obviously, if it's not finished on a full ridge tile, they've cut it down. And obviously, back in the day, before you had mechanical ways of cutting, they've obviously taken something to that, which is quite impressive, because it's a fairly neat cut overall for that. And obviously, then they would sand and cement it. There you've got another ridge tile that's got a big corner taken off of it. So obviously that's not going to be usable. It could be used as a cut later on. And there's another one there tucked in the corner that's got a corner gun as well. So there you go. I think I've got about 3 meters worth of good ridge tiles. And then this is another one that's actually still got some of the tiles, the ordinary tiles, cemented onto them. And that's how I'll show you a technique to get that off, the easiest way of doing it without damaging the tiles. And then finally, we're going to have a quick look at the roof, just where I did get to today. So obviously, didn't make the progress that I would like to have made, but I'm almost at the chimney stack at the top there. And the rain just continued coming down, and I actually finished. I ended up going back to the Airbnb at about 6:30, just giving up all hope. And I ended up going to a local shop to get a couple of provisions, food wise. So I thought I'd try and catch up some on that. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Hope you found this enjoyable, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.